Hey guys, this is Aggi, that's A-double-G-I, with drums Bonedo, and in this video I'll show you how to get the best out of your Efnote Pro series drum kit by adjusting the trigger settings. So we'll talk about pad sensitivity and velocity curves, and we'll even talk about the options to prevent crosstalk. Enjoy! So let's get right into it and go to the trigger settings. So open the menu and tap Trigger. Now the overview screen focuses on assigning different pad models to the trigger inputs. I'm using the Efnote Pro 703 here, which comes with Efnote 7 pads and a few extras, but the module is compatible with all drum and cymbal pads by Efnote, so it's possible to expand a standard Pro 700 or a Pro 500 with pads coming from the Efnote 3. Now for the official configurations like 701, 702 and so on, you can download trigger files from the Efnote website. In any case, you should make sure you've selected the right pad models here. The naming scheme is pretty straightforward, so after the EFD you have a K for kick, a T for tom, a C for cymbal and so on, followed by the size of the pad. So let's take a look at the snare. This is the Efnote 7 model in 14 by 5.5, and obviously you got the smaller models from the Efnote 5 and the Efnote 3. Now before changing anything, you might want to save your current settings. Maybe you already made some tweaks and you want to keep them, or maybe you share the kit with another drummer. You can plug a flash drive into the back of the control surface and open the menu with the 3 dots and hit Save. This is also where you can load trigger settings that you've downloaded from the website. Or, if you're using the Efnote Tools app, you can save your settings directly on your phone, which is pretty cool, right? If you ever need to start fresh, just go to the menu and open the settings and head to the reset screen. So here you can always reset your trigger settings without losing your kits or your bus assignment or anything else, which is a good thing to know, right? Now, let's go back to the trigger settings and open the pad screen where you can set the sensitivity for all pad zones and edit velocity curves. The sensitivity setting always applies to individual pad zones. So here we got sensitivity for zone A, for zone B, and sensitivity for zone C. On snare, that's center, rim, and side rim. So zone A is the center, zone B is the rim, and zone C is the side rim. So now, listen to this. So I think that the rim zone should be a little more sensitive. The module even shows that the velocity on the rim sensor is only halfway up, even though I was hitting it pretty hard. Now on snare and toms, the rim zone is B, as I told you, so just select sensitivity B and increase the value. So let's see if that worked. Cool. Problem solved. It also looks better on screen now, so you can see the first ones are the center strokes, and then you got the rim strokes and you got full velocity here. Now it works the same way for cymbals. In that case, zones A, B, and C are bow, edge, and bell. Personally, I like to increase the sensitivity on zone A, that's the bow, and on zone C, that's the bell a bit. But of course you can experiment with the settings and find what works best for you. Now while sensitivity always applies to individual pad zones, the velocity curve affects the whole pad and all zones at once. Now let me select the kick, and by adding positive values to the curve, it becomes easier to reach higher velocities. If you subtract from the curve, you get a feeling that you have to hit harder, but it'll also feel like there's a higher resolution in the lower velocities, if that makes sense. Now it's difficult to show that by playing because you really need to feel how the pads react. For drum pads, as opposed to cymbal pads, I prefer a little bit of a positive curve, especially in kick because it kind of evens things out in the bass. But again, try different settings for yourself and see what's best for you. Now threshold and headrim border are more advanced settings and you can usually leave them alone. For the headrim border, I'll just read you what it says on the screen. If you can't get a rim shot, even if hitting a rim shot, adjust this towards R. Any questions? Now the threshold sets the minimum velocity required to trigger a sound. So if you want to prevent very soft strokes from triggering, you can do this by increasing this value. Usually these kinds of features are used to eliminate crosstalk or double triggering, but first, with the pads of the 703 on factory settings, there's no crosstalk or double triggering at all. And second, if you do experience crosstalk with other pads, using the Crosstalk Eliminator is the better solution. Now it's a little difficult to demonstrate this when you don't actually experience crosstalk. Now, the tom and the crash are mounted on the same stand here. And when I hit that tom very, very hard, vibrations travel through the stand into the crash, thereby potentially triggering an unwanted sound. But I can hit this tom as hard as I want and it's not triggering any cymbal strokes. Now to show you how this works, I'll just hit the stand. So now the module recognized this as a hit on the crash and it detected crosstalk on the tom. At least that's what the module thinks. And now we see that there's even some elimination going on. Now obviously if you notice crosstalk, if you hear it, and if you see something like this after hitting a pad the regular way, you simply increase the elimination rate until it's gone. And that's it about the Crosstalk Eliminator. Very simple, very straightforward. Now you may have noticed that we've skipped the hi-hat control screen. The most important function here is auto calibration. I assume that you're already familiar with this function because it's just one of the first steps when you set up any Efnote kit, and it's kind of self-explanatory. You can also find this in the power menu. Now there are two more settings here. Foot close sensitivity sets the sensitivity for chick sounds, while close tightness determines how hard you have to press down your foot to go from a closed hi-hat sound to a tightly closed hi-hat sound. So increasing this value means that the module will go to tightly closed earlier and with less pressure. Again, playing something to show you won't help because you just need to feel how the pads react. And that's all about the trigger settings on the Efnote Pro series. I hope that this video was helpful and maybe it even inspired you to play with the settings a bit. Now this is the second of 4 tutorial videos about the Efnote Pro, so be sure to check out the other ones. Thanks for watching and remember to like and subscribe. Bye.